All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday and welcome to the end of week 6. Morning, Deidre. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Jeff.
You have anything you want to share at the outset, or you just want me to dive in?
Just dive in. Go right ahead. Thank you.
All right. All right. So like we did last week, just highlighting a few of the bills that we're probably watching the closest and have the most likelihood of passage. There's still 8 of them. So I've highlighted the changes since last week on here with this green highlighting here. So I'll just start from the top here. The OSTDS permitting bill, talked about it last week, and most of these weeks it's been making some progress. It is on the House floor and is calendared for its last committee stop next week. This is the bill that decouples the building permitting process and the septic tank permitting process so they can run in parallel. The stormwater treatment bill is on its last stop in the House next week and passed the Senate, or excuse me, passed the last committee stop in the Senate this week and is on the Senate floor. It was amended to address the deletion of the regional stormwater management system option, so it now leaves that option alone, and it's just a water quality enhancement area bill. So I like it now. So that's moving along. The DEP bill did not make any progress this week, and I was on the phone with DEP and for another reason this week and asked them about that. I think it will move. It looks like next week it's going to get through its second committee stop and the last stop in the House. They've been trying to fend off some other amendments to that bill, and it has been amended at each stop so far. So we're going to keep watching it. Its lack of progress this week is not an indication of it being, less likely to pass, I think. Biosolids did not have any committee activity this week, but it is on the last committee in the Senate next week and is calendared next week. So that's continuing to show promise for passage this year. This is the more comprehensive of the two biosolids management bills. This is the one that has all the ag land application rates and some IFAS involvement. And anyway, there's a lot going on there. It's largely agriculture related. The PFAS bill did make it to the House and Senate floor. This is Representative Connerly's PFAS bill that has the deadlines for removing PFAS containing firefighting foams from fire stations across the state, within a defined timeline. And it also would require the beginning of PFAS testing in wastewater, effluent, and in biosolids for facilities that are above 25,000 gallons per day, wastewater facilities. And there's a ramp up period for that, for compliance with that. So that's something that looks like it's going to pass. DAX bill passed the Senate this week and is still on the last stop in the House. There has not been any movement on the House in the last week. There is a biosolids provision in there that we're watching, but the rest of that bill is it's an omnibus bill. It has a lot of things in there that are DAX related. Vast majority are not environmental connection. The beach management bill did not move this week. It is on the Senate floor, though, and is on the last stop in the House. I suspect it will be on State Affairs next week. I'll keep an eye on that. And then the last one on this list is nature-based coastal resiliency. This would direct DEP to do rulemaking on more nature-based shore protection types of structures. That did pass the Senate this week and is on the House floor now. So that's also really teed up well for passage this year. So those are the bills that are kind of, I wouldn't say priority, but are definitely the most interesting and also moving. Yes, Michael.
If you're asking for questions. Oh, you didn't get there yet?
Yeah, no.
I could have waited
sure.
a second.
Yeah.
That 302, it had a provision for $250,000 for them to look at nature-based solutions and how they impact insurance. And it got removed in the last bit, which I thought was interesting. And then secondly, I talked to Adam Friday night and he said, remember you had mentioned that WQIP funding was removed. I asked him about that. He said it was removed in the House and not the Senate or the other way around. So he said he still had hope, but I don't know if you've heard anything since Friday.
Well, you can poop in one hand and hope in the other and see which fills up. Yeah. Did I get that expression right? I don't think I did.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. It's a paraphrase. Yeah, the chatter around town, I talked with a couple of folks this week about it. It's still looking like, and listen, things can change, and there's a lot of space between the House and Senate on a lot of budget issues, and there's a lot of horse trading still to do. They really haven't even started the real horse trading. So he may very well be right. There is always hope until the budget's signed, but the chatter still suggests that that they would zero it out in favor of member projects. I've talked with Adam too. Everybody kind of recognizes that the status quo is not sustainable. These pendulum swings between all member appropriation projects to all grant funding projects, and the back and forth is terrible for these projects and for the public. And I think people recognize that. There's a proposal circulating, probably, there's nothing that can be done this year about it. But Michael, I'll get it in your hands. I think you'll like the idea. It's another step closer to a water work program type of
good
structure. So
that's the one I think, yeah, we talked about that a couple months ago. What's his name? Was Connor Lee was pushing that? Or?
Yeah, we've talked to Connor Lee about it, and it's kind of a 2-year deal where the grant program, the grant window is open in year 1. Qualifying, projects get put in there, they get ranked by the department. Then that whole package goes to the legislature in year 2 for appropriation. It's that kind of thing. You just repeat that.
Thank you.
Of course. Does anybody else have questions or want to know about other bills that aren't on this list?
Where do you see the remainder of the bills we started the year with, or that you had talked about earlier? Do you think they're all pretty much dead at this point?
Almost everything that I'm tracking that isn't on this list of 8 bills is dead.
Okay.
I said almost because there are a few exceptions. Some bills that are just marginally related to environment, like the state lands bill or conservation lands bill. That looks like it's going to pass, but it's not really an environmental bill. It's more of a public lands bill. Yeah, I'm just scanning down the list. Water management districts. There's always a chance this thing gets. I mean, this is one of those cards that gets played. It has passed the Senate. It is a priority of Senator Broder, Chair Broder, and it has not even been heard on one committee in the House. Hasn't even been calendared. So that's Connerly's bill in the House. I've talked to Rep. Connerly about that. He was assured at the beginning of session that it wouldn't be a wasted bill slot and it wouldn't be another political pawn in the pushing and shoving this year. But it turned out that was not right, because that's in fact what's happening. So that is a big priority of the Senate Appropriations Chair. The chance of that thing getting thrown into the negotiations between House and Senate on budget is real. And if that does happen, that bill can, even though it hasn't been heard, it can get, rules can get waived. So, that's another one I would keep an eye on as kind of a dark horse. we talked about the big biosolids bill, but the little biosolids bill that just has the, prohibition on land application if you're within 50 miles of a wastewater facility, that is what I call the little biosolids bill. That's by Gates and Boyles, Representative Boyles. That is also moving. It's just moving slowly and is kind of on the wire whether it can make it or not. Nick, the other PFAS bill is dead. It hasn't even had any movement. Maybe battery collection and recovery. That's one we haven't talked about in a while. It's not completely dead. It's still moving, but it has a ways to go. Looks like it has, would create this Safe Battery Collection and Recovery Act. It is on its second stop in the Senate, and looks like, where'd it go? In the House. It's the third stop in the House. No, I'm sorry. I clicked on the wrong link. It has not moved at all in the House. So yeah, I think that's dead. Coral Reefs is dead. Release of conservation easements is dead. The standards for stormwater systems, that's the one that has the DOT specs requirements, that's dead. No movement at all in the House. Former phosphate mining lands, dead. Land and water management, that's the reg preemption bill, that's dead. But by the end of week 6, if your bills aren't on the last stop, you're more than likely going to run out of time. And week 7 and 8 are almost entirely, just kind of pushing the last bills out and onto the floor. A lot of floor action on policy bills. And then the vast majority of the committee time is focused on appropriations.
So Jeff, overall, it's pretty vanilla at this point.
It is pretty vanilla. If it weren't for that stormwater treatment bill, I would have said this whole session was a big sleeper, but that one got my attention.
Well, the coastal stuff is pretty interesting. This whole defining the erosion. I'm already getting calls from counties that are like, what does this mean? If I have a critically eroded thing, it sounds like now I am fiscally responsible for figuring that out and funding it and everything. And so they're in a bit of a panic. It adds in combined flooding, which technically is very difficult to do, right? And then they're already calling me, asking me for, hey, can you do a 3D morphological model with combined flood? I'm like, hell yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
This is going to be awesome,
It's a jobs bill for the coastal engineers.
It's going to be a challenge of like, we're trying to figure out what it means and what it's going to actually look like for people. So.
No, that you make a great point, Michael, and I don't mean to dismiss coastal stuff. That's a big issue.
It just is. It's great for us coastal engineers, but yeah. It's always interesting to me how these things get in there. Like, who said that, right? Like, who thought that was a good idea and all that kind of stuff. So that's where, quite honestly, that's where I wish we had more time with the legislators to talk to them about this before they put this stuff to the law. But I guess we just work with the DEP to figure it out on the back end. So.
Well, it doesn't have to be that way, Michael. We can get more proactive on coastal policy for sure.
Yeah.
Hey Jeff, it's Deirdre. Anything on the appropriations that we should be mindful of?
Deidre, I haven't done a deep dive on that yet.
Okay.
I know we got both House and Senate and the implementing bills now, and so people are starting to scour through those hundreds of pages and look for things. I've not done that yet, but I will do that.
We we heard a rumor that there was going to be some movement of funding, dock stamp funding from the Transportation Trust Fund to other initiatives. So we're on the hunt for if that's actually just a rumor or if that's something that has legislative language behind it.
I saw that and I'll look at that as well. Yeah,
And nobody's actually seen it. It's just a rumor, but something for us
Understood.
to be on the lookout for. Thank you.
those are some big unwieldy bills, all of the implementing language of the budget. And then there's so much movement in the next couple of weeks on budget and on the implementing bills. Even if you see something in there today, there'll be probably dozens or maybe 100 amendments of both of those bills in the next 2 weeks. So there are people who do a lot of appropriations work, and thankfully I'm not one of them, where they go into full sprint mode, tracking all the appropriations issues. Hey, Gary, good morning. Got a question?
Gary, I don't think we can hear you.
Yeah, I saw your hand, but I can't hear you either. Gary, if you want to put something in chat, I'm happy to try to respond there.
I think he still has microphone issues.
Yeah, maybe somebody if he's in the Keys, it'd be harder to reach him. But if he's in Riviera Beach, somebody go to his house and help him.
I
figure out his
volunteer to go to
microphone
Key
setup.
West and hunt him down.
Okay. It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. Oh,
You're muted.
Wow.
You're muted.
There he is.
Well, we're not unmuted now.
There he is.
Oh, he's there in
he's here.
Tallahassee. Wow.
Watch out. He's in
I'm in
Tallahassee.
FPS headquarters here. I had
right.
intended to be on the line, and Ms. Flynn has another conflict that she's working on. But when I was able to finally go, I was all hooked up by telephone, and then Ms. Flynn came in and said, well, I'll get you hooked up here with the computer, and then it didn't work. So like all things, I wasn't on until just a few minutes ago. But Michael, you sounded like you were talking about Senate Bill 636. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Critical
I
erosion
met
one.
yesterday with Audrey Fay, who is the Senator Leake's aide. And basically, I mean, I started out saying, why do we have this bill? And we got a good description from her as to the fact that there are certain segments that don't have critical concern that Ralph has done for decades. I mean, we talked on and expressed some of our concerns. She already understands that the eight criteria are going to go away. They just got to get the vehicle to do that. And from all other instances, it's procedurally, the two bills are not exactly ready for prime time with the floor. So our ultimate is to try and defer it till next year. But Senator Leake wants to get a simplified process so people can get money, even though they don't have the full critical erosion concern designated for a particular beach. Now, he represents some 3 counties on the East Coast, and they all have been receiving what I call good money from the now just $50 million annual beach fill fund, which is how I nickname it. So the other thing is we were at St. Augustine Beach week before last, and obviously they started out with a typical FES no position for or against the first stop, and then opposed the bill the second and third stop. So I've talked to their lobbyist yesterday afternoon, and he also has the same story, that this is not going to be a passing bill this year, but we need to find out if there's a simplified way to get designation so that they can get part of the state monies from now on. That's the sole purpose of the bill. The bill was very poorly constructed, and I did not tell her that it has technical problems like certified engineer. So they don't know all the details, but they know that certainly Ward is not in favor of it. It is a problem child that they're trying to create a problem to fix a problem.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah,
So-
thanks, Gary.
We need to get you involved and some of your coastal people, and obviously Eisminger and a few others in the Southwest Coast.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Your other adjacent owners up, coastal engineers in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I agree. If there's an appetite for some policy work over the next year to bring something better back next year, let's get a small group together and maybe with FSBPA, try to do some consensus work with them.
There is still a chance, just so you know, Jeff, they could get rules committee to sort of waive
Yeah,
some of the problems. And
It's on the floor in the Senate, but the House still has one stop at State Affairs, so it could get amended at State Affairs.
that's correct, but you also have the fact that it probably will never get special order to have a priority.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. It still has two votes on the Senate floor. And so if State Affairs gets amended and then they send those amendments over to the Senate, they can always get amended on to get that bill moving. If those amendments fix it.
Senator Lake and Miss Bay haven't given up, but they are not exactly happy.
Interesting.
Anybody else have any more questions? All right, by next week, I'll use some of the extra time and go through some highlights of the budget bill.
Well, the budget bill is so real interesting because most of there's multi-pages in section 5 for water type projects. And each one's listed out. I've gone through them for at least the counties I deal in. And most people are getting money now. Whether the governor will continue, I'm sure he will figure out he can capture some of that money for his own uses.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of that was kind of the program last year is a lot of the grant funding got zeroed out in favor of member projects. And that looks like the trend again this year.
And that's the trend all over the country and in Congress too. That earmarks came back 5 years ago, 2022. And it's sort of unleashed the whole earmarking process. But so Jeff, let me know if you hear anything about that doc stamp money.
I will.
And thank you.
Well, before you go, just one more thing. One of my pitches, I come up here when the session is going on so I can get to talk to the aides. And for Senator Rodriguez and my wonderful Representative Moody, I've made the pitch that many of these funding sources, the $50 million up to $100 million, but as low as 10 or 20 for beach fill, started back in the 90s or late 80s. We have a stewardship fund for water quality for Monroe County. $20 million we got authorized last century. All these numbers are the same numbers that we had last century. And nowhere is there a CPI or other indexing process. Yet we're now throwing hundreds of millions at SERP and other Springs, but even Springs is sort of limited to what it started out at. So, Jeff, you've got to push the idea of CPI or some other indexing function for these bond issues, because $50 million for dredging and Beachville is just peanuts.
This is a conversation that will take multiple adult beverages to solve.
Well, but we need to start. I've been doing this for too many years.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gary. All right, well, thank you, everybody. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, everybody. Y'all have a great
Thanks,
weekend.
everyone. Have a great
Talk to you
week.
next week.
Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Take care.